Okay, fans of R.M Williams, the phenomenal Chelsea boot that we have here, this particular pair, Chinchilla, the line, the model of this particular Chelsea boot, it's actually the Craftsman with the square chisel toe shape in the hand burnished cognac colour. Now this video is all about some of the comments on this particular group. I'm talking about the R.M Williams Appreciation Group, of course, because this video is also going on our own YouTube channel. And people have been discussing, how do I look after the chinchilla by way of cleaning and polishing? And one or two people have been suggesting only use neutral cream or neutral waxes. Well, yes, when they're new, in very limited quantities. By the way, please bear with me on this video because there's an awful lot of information and I'm going to take you through. I'm going to try to do several little videos and stitch them all together to condense it. So you're not going to be here for a couple of hours, because that's probably how long I'm going to spend cleaning and colour restoring this particular pair of boots. By the way, cognac colour varies massively. Let me show you. This is a pair that I sold to a customer probably only a few months ago, and he scuffed the toe there and he's got something splashed on him there. I hope it's nothing more than dirty water, because I've got to clean these before I start colouring and polishing. Now, when I said colour can vary massively, these are a few months old, and this is one from display in our store. They are both Chinchilla Cognac. Look how dark. By comparison, look how light. Look how dark the burnishing on the toe. Now, when I start to clean, polish, colour, restore these, I've got to, as close as possible or as best I can, get this burnishing back in the toe and round the heel and get some more colour into the vamp of the boot there. First, now then, on with the cleaning part. The first thing I'm going to do is take a shoe tree. The reason I put a shoe tree in every time I clean and polish shoes is so that I can put the shoes in close to as original shape as possible and take out those creases that develop when you start to wear these boots. I want to take those creases out because I need to clean out of those creases and polish into those creases. Once those shoe trees are in, then a little brush over with a hand with a soft brush just to get any loose dirt off there. And most importantly, there's a suede brush. The top of that welt, where that stitching lies that holds the outsole on, gathers dust, gathers dirt. So I'm going to take that suede brush and just gently clean the top of the welt all the way around. And that's cleaning that stitching, just getting the dust and dirt out of there. I'm going to use, to try to remove whatever this is that the gentleman's got on there. If you have a look at that, Michelle, just a little bit closer. Whatever that is, I'm going to try and remove it. I'm going to use this product. Sapphire, the brand, is they're famous for making some of the best leather care products around, and we keep lots of different creams and polishers, waxes and cleaning products from that brand here in store, and I always use Sapphire products. Now, this particular product is called Renomat. It's a mild solvent mixed with a conditioner. So that solvent is cleaning, the conditioner is conditioning, moisturising the leather. Now, that needs a good shake to mix those two components in there, and I'm going to apply it very gently. That'll remove dirt and staining that will come off and any polish residues. So we get back down to kind of a base before we start colouring and polishing. Liquid, obviously, so it's going to wet the boots, and I'm going to apply the Renomat with a little sponge with a scouring pad. Scouring, you say? On a pair of chinchilla, you must be mad. I am mad, actually. But very gently, and after even 30 seconds, this is one I've used before on a lighter tan colour, so it's already, that scouring part, softened. A little bit on that, and then very gently, small circles, and just hopefully remove any dirt and staining. in removing polish residues, and especially because the chinchilla cognac colour is heavily burnished, the raw leather, before they start to colour and polish it, when they're making it, is considerably lighter than this. So I'm going to be removing some of those creams, and with it that colour. So very gently I'm going to go around the whole boots, including, of course, don't forget the sole edge, because the welt and the sole edge is leather. That leather heel stacking there needs cleaning too. We'll come back to you in just a little while when both have been cleaned and they've dried, ready for some colour restoration. Okay, so cleaned and dried like that, and you can see that cognac colour has faded quite a bit, but at least we got the dirt and the staining away. I need now to start to restore that colour. I've already done this one by way of using a darker brown cream, bearing in mind that the antiquing creams that some of these shoemakers use at the factories are virtually same, very similar to this. Remember, there's more colour pigment in a cream than there is in a wax. So a wax for a little bit of colour enhancement, maybe better shine or higher shine and better weather protection, but a cream conditions the leather as it works as well, of course, but more colour pigment for colour restoration or enhancing. Now, I've already done the toe on this one, a little bit down the sides and a little bit on the heel counter. I've put them darker browns in. It's very, very important that you don't start daubing loads of cream on these, because the more you put on, the more you are going to change the colour. So just a tiny little bit of cream on a finger cloth, and I use a finger cloth because it allows me to use my hands as normal. Taking that toe area, which is darker, we want to get that darker shading back into the toe, so a tiny bit of cream on there, and start tiny circles, just very small circles round like that. Condense or concentrating it right at the tip of the toe, and when it's virtually gone from your cloth, done its job, then you start to just move outwards up the toe and blending it in just like that, a little bit around the sides, and eventually when it's virtually gone from there, just slightly more into the toe of the boot so you can see it's quite even. Now a little bit more required on there, and then of course some on the heel. Just wanted to show you how I do that before. When that's done, as this is, we're going to go on the main upper of the boot, the cognac colour. Now I'm using on this particular boot, bearing in mind what I said before, the cognac colour from the factory can vary massively. I can take half a dozen pair out of these, out of boxes on our stock shelf, and see half a dozen different shades. Not great, it just means there's not so much consistency, but doesn't really matter, because it also means that every pair the same, every pair unique. Now Cognac by Sapphire, the brand that we use, is the closest colour about to cognac that we can get. So I'm going to use cognac cream. You'll notice also that I haven't moved or changed my cloth, but there's very little colour left in there from polishing that toe, on this toe. One of the things to remember with this is don't put lots and lots on and concentrate it on one spot, because you'll end up needing to put lots and lots over the whole boot, and the more you put on, the more colour you're putting in. So a tiny little bit, and starting just backwards of the toe, but moving over a broad area quite quickly, so you're not concentrating a lot of cream in one spot. And so I'm going straight in, bigger circles like this. Now remember, one or two of you guys have been talking about using neutral creams on cognac or the Bordeaux, the Chinchilla boots by Williams. No amount of neutral cream will restore colour, because there's no colour in it. Now watch carefully, a tiny bit, move it around quite a large area quite quickly, and you see where I've not been, you can see where I've been. There we go. And that's coming quite nice. Just a few seconds more, guys. Bear with me. And I'm going to finish but not finish the front part of the upper of this boot. We're nearly there. Because I'm sure you're going to be a little bit surprised when you see how I actually finish this boot. Finish this part of the job. When you've worked that cream into the upper, and if you do it this way on a finger cloth or just with a finger, small circles, you can actually feel when that cream or that polish has done its job, because it starts to drag under your finger. It's that point, and if you want to zoom in a bit again, Michelle, just the last little bit of cream on, and when that cream has spent and done its job, I switch from the finger to the hand. Just the hand. This is hand polishing shoes and boots. The colour is back into that boot, and I'm buffing literally with my hand. Just a few seconds, and if you back out, we're nearly there, except it's not quite finished because I've not polished it. That's cleaned, that's colour restored with the burnishing back in the toe, and I've got to yet go around the back of the boot into the heel and finished the heel counter and the quarters. And that's cleaned with a little bit on the toe, more to do. The next stage for this one is wax polishing, and I can enhance, not change massively, enhance the colour more on this burnishing with another colour polish. So that's 3 different colour polishes or creams I'm using on this upper. Neutral creams to cover scratches, scuffs and restore Chinchilla Cognac. I'm using 3 because that's how many I need. I'll come back to you shortly. When I finish this one, I've done that one, and we'll move on to the wax polishing for the finish and a little bit more colour enhancement. Okay, so final stages. Look at the colour. I've been grafting, believe it or not. Final stages. This has been cognac cream over the whole boot, and that dark brown on the toe cap round and a bit on the heel counter there, and it's been buffed by hand just with shoe cream. Now, finishing stages for polishing, I'm using again Sapphire. By the way, I don't work for Sapphire, it's just the products I use, and if you want to know and use them to hopefully get results similar to these, if you like them, this is what I use, Sapphire. And the colour wax for finishing is mahogany. Look how dark it is, and it's got a very strong burgundy hue. But like I said earlier, there's much more colour pigment in a cream than there is in a wax. So you're going to enhance the colour a little bit with a wax polish. So starting again from the toe and just working backwards, small circles with this. And I'm going to do the whole boot eventually in a wax, so we've got that better shine and a little bit better weather protection. And something else needs protecting from the weather. We'll come to that in just a second, if you'll bear with us. Once that whole boot has the wax applied, and it's time to move on, move areas, change areas, when that wax underneath your finger starts to drag. It's done its job. It's in the leather. It's ready almost for buffing. Now, on the toe, and again, all we're going to do, when that wax starts dragging, is change from the finger, which is applying the polish, to the flat of the hand, if you zoom in, Michelle, which I'm using for buffing the boot. Just the hand. There's no cloths involved. It's just the hand, and you can see that shine coming through quite nicely now on the toe. Weatherproofing. Remember your welt and your leather sole edge. This one, by the way, we've had a thin stick-on rubber cover sole fitted to stop the wear on that leather sole any further. But that leather sole and the leather heel stack also needs protecting, because leather is better than any sponge. When it loses that wax from new, it'll soak any water up, any moisture up, and if it's dirty water, it's going to discolour the leather aspect on the sole and the heel stack. So, back to the cognac cream, and I'm applying that to the heel stack and the sole edge carefully along the top edge of the welt, not to contaminate the colour of the stitching, which on this boot of course is white, off-white. So very little at a time, just a bit of cream on that sole edge. That's restoring the colour because it's lost colour on that sole edge, and we've taken a little bit out with cleaning as well, remember, with the Renomat. And then we're going all the way around, just on top of that bevel, on top of the sole edge, around the heel stack behind. Look at the colour. See the colour there, Michelle, which we've lost? Tiny little bit on there, and just work it in. And that's putting the colour back into that leather and helping to protect it. Don't forget, when we finish with the cream and we've brushed this, not with our hand but with a brush, we're going to apply wax to finish the sole edge too. And the colour Cognac, of course, for this particular welt finish is absolutely fine. If it's a brand new boot and there's no colour loss at all on the sole edge, a light tan cream is a good colour for a natural finish on a sole edge. Now when that's dry, I'm going to use a brush to buff that. Wax on the toe. I'm going to put more wax on this toe and build it up a little bit, but only on the toe to get a higher shine on the toe. I don't want to build lots of wax in this area on the boot, because when that leather creases as you start to wear it again, if you've got an awful lot of wax build up on there, it can crack and flake off and look a little bit unsightly. So more concentration of wax on the toe and a little bit on the heel counter. Bit more work to do on this one. This one is finished. There we go. Remember how that looked at the start? I put the colour back into the sole edge and buffed with the brush, and I put the colour back into the upper of the boot. I've concentrated more colour and used a darker brown on the toe cap and the heel counter. Creamed and wax polished the whole boot. For the finish, secret weapon. That's a normal foam sponge with a nylon stocking, a nylon mesh, and that micro mesh just for a finish, a final finish on the boot. Just a quick, very light, not harsh, waft over there, and if there are any swirl marks in that polish, that takes them away. But the flat of your hand does a great job too. That is cleaning, colour restoring and polishing the chinchilla in Cognac. It's a bit of a task, it's a bit of a challenge sometimes, but without the right products, you stand no chance at all. I'm talking about neutral creams and neutral waxes, neutral polishers. When colour's gone, when scuffs and scratches occur, you need to restore colour, put colour back in. So that's how I've done it. Now remember, on this particular boot, just finally guys, and thank you for your patience. I hope you've enjoyed watching this little video. If you have, give us a thumbs up. You remember that little scuff that we had right on the toe? Well, it's still there because the damage was on the surface of the leather. So underneath all this colour and polishing that I've put back on, that scuff is still there, but with the creams and the polishers, it's little more now than a bit of character on a beautiful boot. Thank you very much. And if you have any concerns, if you have any queries, if you would like any information, then you can contact me anytime. I'm going to put this video, I'm not sure guys, Billy, is this video okay on your site for your guys? I hope lots of you find it useful. If not, please may I put a link on this and it'll send them to my YouTube channel. There's a handful of videos on there, that's all. But this is not about selling boots. Of course I'm a retailer. Of course we have a shop in Doncaster in England, but much more than that. This is about you guys that love these boots, this brand, shoes in general, and want information and help to take the best care of them. I hope this helps.